Well, welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media. I am Wa2K99. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. So today we're going to go back to a little bit of Mets here. So the Mets have come off a 4-game series in Atlanta where they dropped 3 of 4. Very disappointing series. Knew it was going to be a challenge. I'd never felt that the Braves were going to go away. Although I have not let go of my belief that the Mets will win the division. My faith has been a little bit shaken ever since the trade deadline and the Mets' failure to really address their bullpen, while the Braves did make certain upgrades, such as Raisel Iglesias and Robbie Grossman. Jake Odorizzi, don't know if that's working out too well, but I do feel good about the Mets lineup, inconsistent as it may be. It does seem to be able to come through for the most part, but the bullpen, definitely that Achilles heel outside of Edwin Diaz. But what I wanted to do in this video is go back through the remaining schedule. A little while back, I talked about my reasons why I felt the Mets would win the division. I did this video in July sometime, and now a little bit more time has passed. So I want to go back, take a look at the remaining schedules for both the Mets and the Braves, and figure out what has to happen. So Mets currently 3.5 games up on Atlanta. Now let's take a look at the Mets schedule with what they have left. So they've got 3 more games in Philadelphia, and then they're done with the Phillies. They don't have to see them again. They've got 2 at the Yankees, although, number one, the Yankees offense has been slumping dramatically, as we've seen. And in the Bronx, the Mets will be pitching 2 guys named Scherzer and DeGrom. I hear they're pretty good, last I checked. Then the Mets have 4 against Colorado, 3 versus the Dodgers at home. That gets them through August. Now, to me, getting through August in first place is the key, because check out what the Mets have left in the month of September. 3 versus Washington, 3 at Pittsburgh, 3 at Miami, 3 versus the Cubs, 4 versus Pittsburgh, 3 at Milwaukee, who's dramatically slumping, 3 at Oakland, 2 versus Miami, then 3 at Atlanta before finishing the season with 3 at home against Washington. There are a lot of lousy teams. In fact, if the season ended today, the only one of those teams to make the playoffs would be Atlanta, that the Mets play in the month of September. So I really think that getting through September, or getting through the month of August in first place, is going to be paramount for the Mets to win this division, and winning this division is going to mean so much. Getting that bye, being able to rest your veteran players, and as the number 2 seed, they would potentially draw the winner of, right now it looks like it would be something like St. Louis versus maybe Philadelphia, as opposed to the other side of the bracket where the Dodgers are all but certain to be first, and then they play the winner of the 4-5 matchup, and whoever finishes second in the NL East right now, that would be Atlanta, would be on pace to play the Dodgers. So if the Mets could get through the National League playoffs without having to see both Atlanta and LA, they really need to finish in that number 2 spot in the playoffs. That's why winning this division is so big. So if we do the math, and I'm going to compare these numbers to Atlanta, the Mets have a .463 opponent winning percentage remaining. Okay, .463, that's 28th in baseball. So it's the 3rd easiest in the league. Okay, and the other thing is they only have 11 games left against playoff teams. So, and 3 of those are happening this weekend against the team that the Mets have absolutely owned this season in the Philadelphia Phillies. Then the 2 against the Yankees, the 3 against the Dodgers, the 3 against the Braves. Okay, let's go to the Atlanta schedule. Here's what they've got left. They've got 2 more at home against Houston, 3 versus Pittsburgh, 3 at St. Louis, 3 versus Colorado, 3 versus Miami, 2 at Oakland, 3 at Seattle, then 3 at San Francisco. So that's a pretty long road trip they got going on there, 8 games. Then 3 versus Philadelphia at home, 3 versus Washington, 4 at Philadelphia. So they got a lot more games with the Phillies left. 3 at Washington, 3 at home against the Mets, and they finish up with 3 at Miami. So the Braves don't have a brutally, it's a relatively easy schedule, but then when you are in a division with Miami and Washington, that does kind of help matters. So the Braves' collective opponent winning percentage is .481. So that's 23rd in baseball. So that'd be seventh easiest compared to the Mets, which are third easiest. But the Braves have 18 games left against playoff-bound teams. Teams where if the season ended, they would be in the playoffs. So 2 against Houston, 3 against St. Louis, 3 at Seattle, 7 against Philadelphia, and 3 against the Mets. So the Mets do have that slight edge. So once the Mets get through Philadelphia and get through the Yankees and through the Dodgers, it's going to be that 463 winning percentage I talked about. It's only going to get way, way easier. So got to survive these last, these 2 weeks. Stay in first place, and my personal belief is if the Mets can get out of the month of August in first place, they're not going to let it go. And if they keep that division lead, it is going to help October become that much more memorable for fans of the New York Mets such as myself. All right, well, thank you very much. I'll be back on Sunday with the Sunday Sports Sermon. And on Monday, I plan on doing a video after I hang out with the Virginia Jets fans. And we're going to talk a little bit about the Jets preseason game against the Atlanta Falcons. And I will see you back from you know where. Wicker Chair.